Alright, this is a tutorial on how to rebuild your Vortech FMU. This is my Vortech, and I was driving and I think it got stuck shut, and it just my fuel pressure went up like 110 psi and it wouldn't go down, and I think something got stuck inside a piece of debris. So I'm going to take this apart and show you what I found. First thing you do is loosen and pull out these 6 Allen bolts. And on mine, when I first got this, I did a boost leak test, and I would get bubbles coming out of these holes right here when I'd spray the soap on it. So a good easy fix is go to Harbor Freight and get their little O-ring kit. And you want to use the O-rings that are in the top right pocket right here. Those fit on the little bolts perfect and make a nice little seal once it's installed. And you take off your lid and then remove the diaphragm and make sure there's no holes or tears in it. And that one's good. And the disc, that's a 12-to-1 disc. If it fills up the whole thing, that's a 12-to-1. And you're going to remove the plunger. And next thing, you're going to loosen these 4 bolts. I've already gotten them loose for the video to speed things up. Alright, then you're going to carefully remove the bottom section of the FMU without tearing the smaller diaphragm. You got this bottom part with a O-ring in it. And if that O-ring's damaged, you can order a new one from Vortech, but they charge you $20. So I would probably get a digital caliper and go and looking around and trying to match one up, because $20 for our O-ring, ripoff. Well, that just kind of slid right off. Alright, this piece is called the FMU shim, and I don't know if you can see, get the light right. It's got 3 indentations in it that look like how it would look if you took a little nail and hit it with a hammer. It's not through the metal all the way, but that was probably caused from some debris, and that would explain why mine got stuck and overpressurized the fuel system. You can order a new one of these from Vortech, and I've got one on the way. I think it's about $15. The diaphragm right here, you want to inspect for cracks or anything. If you look at mine, got a little tear in it. That's why it's bad. So I ordered a new one of these. I think that was like $20, and it's on the way. But that's how you disassemble the Vortech FMU. Next, I'm gonna put it back together. Alright, now we're going to put the FMU back together. I went ahead and installed this fitting because if I tried to install it with that on, it would hit it. So first thing you got to do is put in the O-ring, make sure it's clean. That just sits in there. Here's the new diaphragm that came. It's the same size. That was like $20. Here's the old FMU shim, and here's the new one. The new one doesn't have any creases or rings in it at all, as compared to the old one. The new one will get these creases once we install it and torque down the nuts. Okay, this shim is going to sit right on top of the piece like that, and make sure it's centered between the 4 bolt holes. See, that's the old one. And if you look down on in the holes, if you see the disc poking through, just get a pen or something and try to center it as best you can. Alright, this next part is easier if you have the bolts already sitting in the holes. That way it's easier to line the bolts up where they're supposed to go. And just start threading each bolt a little bit at a time, and if it actually goes into the hole, then you know the FMU shim is centered. Alright, the next step is to torque these 4 bolts to 25 to 27 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. And once you do that, the bottom half of the FMU is put back together. Alright, here is the FMU recalibration kit you can get from Vortech. I got this one on eBay, and it comes with all the disc sizes that are available. I'm just going to show you how to install each one and which ring goes to which disc. The first one is the 12-to-1. You know it's a 12-to-1 if it takes up the whole entire space in the FMU like that. The next one's a 10-to-1, and there's nothing special about this ring. It's just like this. If you notice in the FMU there's a little vent hole. That vent hole is there to relieve the air pressure as the air pressure is going on the diaphragm, so it doesn't have to fight the air pressure. This ring, when it's installed, that vent hole is still open, so it doesn't have to have a slit in it like some of these other rings do. Once that's installed, the 10-to-1 sits on it like that. The next one down is an 8-to-1, and this ring's a bit different. It's got a little step, and if you look at the bottom right here, it's got a little slit in it. That slit's there so air can actually go underneath it, so it relieves the pressure through that vent hole. It's a good idea to install the ring with that vent as close to the vent hole as you can. Just put it right next to it, just like this. And the ring will just hug these 4 screws, and then the 8-to-1 disc will just sit right inside like that. The next one's a 7-to-1, and the ring's similar, but it is different. The step's a little thicker, and it also has the little slit right there. Install that slit close to the vent hole, and that one hugs the screws, and then the disc sits in just like that. The next one down is a 6-to-1, and it's got a little step. It's just like the 8-to-1 and 7-to-1, just a little thinner, and it also has a slit, and like the last ones, put it close to the vent hole, and it hugs the screws, and the disc just sits inside on the little step. And the last one's a 4-to-1, only the slit in this one is on the opposite side of the step. Just make sure the slit goes down close to the hole, and then the disc just sits inside right there. It's got a little bit of play, but that's how they made it. Okay, we've got the 4 bolts torqued, and 25 to 27 inch-pounds is hardly anything. I mean, it's just barely tighter than just snug. You know you over tighten it if you see the diaphragm just mushing out kind of funny from underneath there. If it does that, it's too tight. So I got mine just right. So now it's time to put together the upper half. I'm gonna go with the 10-to-1 disc. I originally had the 12-to-1, but with my bigger injectors, I think I can go down one. So I'm going to go ahead and install the ring. Then make sure you put in the plunger, and make sure if you see any rust on this at all, get it off and just smear a little bit of WD-40 on there to protect it. Otherwise, the rust can make the plunger stick inside, and you'll boost and not even know it, but your regulator won't even be working. So go ahead and put that in, put the disc on, and it's good to, I wrote 10-to-1 on mine, and just make sure the ink side goes down so the ink doesn't react with the diaphragm if it did, just to be safe. Then the diaphragm goes on top. And we put the lid on. And then you go ahead and install the 6 bolts and just snug those up just a little bit. It doesn't need to be that tight, and make sure you have those little O-rings because that helps it not leak under a boost lead.